Go. If you're watching us from anywhere tonight, go. Yeah. Who can see us? If you're here, you can see me. Fantastic. Okay, we get it started. Let's do this. Thanks everybody for joining. It's exciting to be able to see all of you on here tonight. I'm super happy to be able to see that you could all make it. So let's get to it. If you were here last week, say something. I want to be sure you were here last week. If you're here last week, say something in the chat. I want to see that person who was here last week and who is also here this week. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna get my screen started. Today we're working on going global, and I'm gonna get my energy started in a bit. I'm just gonna take it one step at a time. Okay. So it's really super intriguing. Let me see if I can share only this particular tab so that it is in such a way. Anyways, I think Google is the one that allows you to share. To share multiple tabs like that. Okay, so let's get started. Thanks for joining. I will check once in a while for what's going on in the chat and also come back and then see what's happening. We're going to be here for approximately 120 minutes. So get ready, get rid of all distractions around you. Make sure that you are 100% here with me tonight as we walk through some of the fundamentals of going global to the United Kingdom, to Canada, to the US. We got to do this tonight. So thank you for joining. My name is Olusola Amusan. I'm co-founder and CEO at Vesti. A few months ago, my brother and I, who are essentially migrants in the United States and who moved here to be able to search for global opportunities and be able to thrive, decided to create a platform that will help other people to be able to do the same. So whether they're living in Mombasa or they're living in Nairobi or they're living in Nigeria, in Lagos, they're living in Ibadan, your state, or they're living somewhere in Kigali, they can find opportunities across the world. And someone who is in Korea or who is in Japan can find an opportunity to move to the United States. And even those immigrants who are already in the United States can know how to continue to stay legally within the country. So that's why we created Vesti. And Vesti is that migration tech platform in your hands. It gives you the opportunity to learn about migration, but also provides you the essential financial services that would help you to be able to succeed as a migrant in whatever country you find yourself. So thank you so much for joining. We are starting today's session by reminding those of you who are on this webinar by virtue of maybe just getting a chance to join because maybe you're in my database, but you haven't really signed up to be a Vesti member. You need to download the app in the Android store and in the Apple Play Store today and see what beautiful magic we are making with this migrant tech platform. So go check it out because it's going to be super amazing to see you using that application and using it to migrate, using it to transform your journey, using it to get access to global opportunities. And also, more importantly, many of the financial services that the regular banks have sort of like disenfranchised you from, or that the policies around the Nigerian economy or the Ghanaian economy or the Kenyan economy haven't supported you in being able to do, you can make some of those global payments through Vesti, whether it's West, whether it's service fee, whether it's UK visa, US visa, any of this, you can make some of these global payments through the Vesti platform. Also, you can create relocation savings program on the platform. You can learn more about that if you read some of the articles on Migration Fries on how to basically work on your finance for your migration journey. Today, I won't take much of your time. I want to go straight into it because we're going to have a very, very interesting time tonight. So if you have family members, this is the time to call them. If you have friends, colleagues, this is the time to call them, to bring them in, to let them know that webinar you were talking about has started. So give them a call right now, text them, remind them, send them a WhatsApp message, share this link, this video link right now in all the Telegram groups that you are, in all the WhatsApp groups that you're allowed to do so, and let people know that Olusola Amusan is here, co-founder and CEO at Vesti, and the Vesti team is here to show you how exactly you can go global. All right. So this is it. Welcome to tonight's session. We want to learn how to go global to the UK, to the US, and Canada because they have commonalities. There are actually certain things that connect them together. Before I get started, it's important I introduce myself and create a critical background for you. Now, if you're in my Telegram group already, or you're in the Vesti community app, there is a chance that you already know who I am. But just for the purpose of those who don't know me, my name is Olusola Amusan. Friends usually call me SA, and mostly these days in recent times, people prefer to call me Olu. I am based in Dallas, Texas. I moved here less than 3 years ago through a visa type called the O1 visa, which is an extraordinary ability visa classification by the United States government. I moved here to come and expand my business, my first business, Coven Works, and be able to connect to more opportunities around artificial intelligence. And it's been an intriguing journey this last 3 years. And then I suddenly realized I had the opportunity to be able to provide this same knowledge to several other people who were not aware that this is possible. And also to tell you about my co-founder, he also moved here about 3 years ago, first to come into an accelerator in the company that we were building, and eventually moved on to study law at Pace University in New York. And both of us haven't gotten the experience of working with several people, families, to migrate not just to the US, but to Canada and the United Kingdom and everywhere else around the world. Abimbola, my co-founder himself, has contributed to the filing of over 500 green card applications in the United States. And he's supporting and advising a lot of people, advocating that migration is a human right and we can do all we can to be able to support people to get a better life and to get better opportunities to succeed. So today I will be tempering it down a little around just regular migration. I would focus more on global opportunities, but you will see how I will tie it back towards the end, back to the concepts that are critical for you to become valuable. I've been eager to get the chance to actually teach this particular session. I've been eager to actually teach this particular session that focuses on, just showing people how exactly you can increase your value and make that value what will then distinguish you and take you on into someone that is so desirable by countries. I've been eager since we started the exclusive group, which is a unique group of people who have decided to take their migration journey very seriously. Since then, I have started actually working to see how I can show people how to become very valuable and attractive to governments of countries. So I'm super happy that I'm getting the chance to teach these components today and then tie it back into your migration journey, okay? If you haven't watched some of my webinar replays, there are some of them that are available for free on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel where you're watching right now. And if you haven't gotten the chance to be able to do that, please do it now. Now, there are other videos that characterize some of the critical webinars that I've done in the past 9 months that are only available to members of our exclusive community. And I will tell you more about that towards the end of the session. So I'm going to go in and out of my presentation because I noticed from the recording I watched last week that my video wasn't so large. For people, please take snippets of these sessions and post on Instagram to help other people share around your network. Of course, tag me as well at Olusola Amusan on Instagram. I definitely will add you up and follow you back. All right, this is very, very important. All right, so let's go back to our presentation for today. Going global, UK, US, Canada. I'm going to start with my journey. I'm going to remind you guys, for those who don't know, that I am from a small community in Osun State of Nigeria called Modakeke, a community that was literally ravaged by war and intercommunal crisis around the time I was 7 and 8. And it wasn't the kind of crisis that hadn't been seen before. It was that kind of crisis that would reoccur like maybe every other decade based on like who was in the seat of power from a traditional ruler standpoint. So I'd heard history of how the war broke out in the early 1900s and also in the 1980s and again in the 1990s. And of course, around the time, I had the dream of attending one of the best high schools because I was just graduating from primary school to high school called Alex Dudiemi Memorial College, but that dream was truncated because after a year of getting into that school, because the school was in Ile-Ife, I couldn't go on and I had to move to another community, to Oshogbo, to be part of another high school. Particularly, that wasn't the high school of my dreams, but turned out to create the kind of funness or the kind of person or the kind of place, the foundry that has made me to the kind of person I am today. So somehow providence and grace pushed me from that Alex Dudiemi Memorial College, which by the way is an amazing school, into Veritas International College, where I found some of my passions. And even though I had volunteered at Alex Dudiemi Memorial College at the age of 9 as a member of the Society for Women and AIDS in Africa, the anti-AIDS club of the secondary school, because we're required to join one society or the other. You remember when you would either join Literary and Debating Society or whether you join the Jets Club. I was joining the non-profit organization club right from the age of 9. I think that was connected to the fact that I grew up in a community that was ravaged by crisis, and my father was volunteering for UNICEF's peacekeeping mission within that community, So I think maybe that gave me the exposure to know that it's important to volunteer for nonprofits right at that very young age. So even when I moved to Oshogbo and we had nonprofits come into our schools to advocate and speak about decision-making when tomorrow comes, self-esteem and all those kind of things, and sharing pamphlets with us, I very quickly joined a small group of people and started learning how to volunteer, support programs. And that was the first time I heard about Ford Foundation. Right at the age of 12, I heard about Ford Foundation running these exchange programs and bringing young people from the United Kingdom to Nigeria. So you see, these exchange programs have been on for a long time, and I got a chance to start learning about these programs right from a really young age, and for some reason, even though we didn't know what we're doing, most of the time we're just dancing to welcome the young white people who were, of course, older than us. They were teenagers. We were teenagers. They were youth, who were coming into the country to learn about Nigeria's culture, tie and dye. The Nikkei Art Gallery you guys have today in Lekki, in Lagos, for those of you who are watching from Lagos, used to be in Oshogbo, right? And these young people will come from the United Kingdom and go to the Nikkei Art Gallery and just learn. This is about 20 years ago now, to learn, about the culture of Nigeria. And we would just dance for them, do welcome drama. And I went on to learn karate, even though I don't look anything like someone who did martial art today, but don't try me. I still remember some of my arm locks, what I'm saying? So basically, I'm explaining this journey because with the benefit of hindsight now, I can see that all of those things contributed to my desire to go global right from that very young age. I had been desiring that, hey, I wanted to be able to see the United Kingdom, to be able to see the world. Remember, my dad used to promise me that I was going to go to Oxford, to study law or something, that was his desire. Never went to Oxford. When my brother finished his law master's in the US, I mean, he generally wrote a very emotional post online about how this is dreams come true for him because he had thought he was going to do his bachelor's, in the United States or at least somewhere outside Nigeria, but eventually was able to achieve that dream. So just talking to you about like that background makes me, even a little emotional about the fact that there is a huge connection about where we are coming from sometimes and where we're going to. And when you see people arguing sometimes, whether it's important to move abroad or that, some of them come from privilege. Because if you come from hardship, if you come from if you understand some of the critical problems that Nigeria is facing, and you're not part of the oppressing group or the oppressing class, or you would want something more. You would be looking at something bigger. You would want something more remarkable. You know what I'm saying? So I think this contributed to my desire. And there's an exercise we did last week. By the way, I need to show you this videos. If you haven't gotten them, you can only get them if you join the exclusive group, which I'll talk about later. And of course, I have some free sessions on US scholarships, US scholarship opportunities, migrating to Ireland, migrating to Germany, migrating to France, that are available right there, both on my YouTube and on Vesti YouTube. But before I move into the real deal, I was talking about the importance of coming from wealth or coming from hardship. Sometimes the people you argue with or that argue with you, that they don't think they see any value in anybody studying abroad, they don't think they see any value in people moving abroad, go check them out. Half of them are either from privilege, they're part of the oppressing class, so they've never seen what true hardship is. But when people come from situations that are really, really hard, not because they are poorer, sometimes, listen, privilege is not the same as, wealth. Some people come from privilege in that, despite the fact that they grew up in Yanopaja, right? They had been going to beach for holidays. They had access to, malls. They've had access to cinemas, for a very long time. My own local community didn't have a cinema. Penn Cinema Agege has been there for long. Like, we had TV houses or film houses. That's what we used to call it. And they were basically television houses, with screens. But there's been Penn Cinema Agege for a long time. So sometimes wealth is not the same as privilege. Half of the people who argue with me the most are those who grew up in privilege in the major cities of Nigeria. But those other people who grew up in Ekiti, who grew up in Abakaliki, who grew up in Osun State, don't find it difficult to understand that despite the fact that they wanted to become more, they couldn't become more because of what their background said. And those are the kind of people I really want to talk to. I think Lagosians are too privileged, right? I moved to Lagos in 2014, thereabout, but I didn't come to Lagos as an adult up until 2009. You can imagine that, so essentially, I'm not your regular Lagos guy, and that's why I value every privilege I get to be able to see the world. So if you grew up in a mega city like Lagos, well, you might not be thrilled by what's going on everywhere else around the world. Actually, you should be thrilled, but myopism and the fact that you had it all good for you, you saw highways really early in life and everything. I don't know what that counts for though, but there is this pseudo arrogance about the fact that you don't need the world around you, or you don't need new opportunities around you because you feel that you can be anything you want to be in Lagos. And that's great. And I keep telling people, no matter what you think you have, that is still, bound to an economy that is sitting on a keg of gunpowder led by people who have no clue what they're doing, is nothing. So even if you had all of the money in life in Lagos, boy, it sits on a country where the leaders can make any kind of statement that can break into civil war, then you really have nothing. So you need to be able to think truly about what's the true value of what you have, and who respects it, who values it, and how much is it even worth when you bring it on the global scheme of things. So it's important that you understand that, and I hope that is clear for somebody to be able to see why many people who live in the major cities don't just care about some of these conversations that we're having. But let's go towards those who are here tonight who really do care about what these opportunities are about, okay? So as of today, I always tell people that there is a country for every person of value. There is a country that is expecting every person of value. So my goal towards this webinar, as I teach you about going global, is to essentially talk to you about being a person of value and being able to add so much value to yourself that you become a person that is so attractive to opportunities, somebody that is attracting opportunities globally, all right? So if you were so proud of Lagos, you're so proud of Nigeria, always remember that it's a $500 billion economy. And if you wanted to build a brand as valuable as Apple, you wanted to build a brand as valuable as Microsoft, you wanted to do that, you would be doing it within the construct of what the size of that economy is. The United States economy today is over $22 trillion. And it is so because Apple is a $2 trillion company, Microsoft, a $2 trillion company, and so on and so forth. All of these organizations in valuation and national economy or in economy have been able to become responsible for what you call the value of the United States economy. The United Kingdom is worth $2.3 trillion. That's the size of the GDP of the United Kingdom, their gross domestic product. And then Canada, the gross domestic product is 1.5 trillion. Now, in seeing this, you should be humble. When you say, Lagos is okay for me or Nigeria is okay for me, you should be humble. Because if you have some dream to do bigger, you will try to be part of this global economy. And it doesn't mean you don't care about Nigeria. It just means that as you think and as you do whatever you need to do, you want to be part of something bigger. All right. So even if you're being treated as a king wherever you are today, at best, you're a one-eyed king in the land of the blind. So you have to think bigger than that, all right? And the 3 countries I've chosen to focus on today are currently looking for people of value, regardless of what field you find yourself. Are you a writer, an artist, an engineer, a doctor, a finance person, a technology engineer, whatever you are being requested for and looked for if you are a person of value. So your goal really is to see how to add value to yourself significantly and aggressively. Significantly and aggressively. Significance talking about the type of value you're adding to yourself, and aggressively talking about how quickly you choose to add that value to yourself. The most people I'm coaching are those who want to move. The most people I'm coaching are those who want to move, to the United States, Canada, or the United Kingdom within a 12-month period. What that means in essence is that you have to do everything possible within your power to add value to yourself real quickly so that you can be on that path to relevance that is desired by all of these countries. And I'm going to share practical insights today as to how you can add value to yourself and become that person of value that these countries are looking for. And when I say looking for, I mean they have instituted a number of programs that they've laid down. And these programs essentially just now you'll suddenly become a fit of this program because of the direction you are leading your life. Okay. And when you become that person that they're looking for, when you become that person that they want to see, when you become that person that they need to complement the value that they are building in their economy, visa suddenly becomes a non-issue. You suddenly become the kind of person that they invite to the embassy to come pick up a visa. You suddenly become the kind of person that the economic and finance officer or economic policy desk officers of the United Kingdom Homes Department or the United States Consulate would come down from their high horses to give you your passport, to give you your visa, because they want you to come into their country. You become that kind of person that universities invite to apply. You become that kind of person that fellowship organizations invite to become a fellow. You become that kind of person who is clear enough and can lash on opportunities that are existing in these countries to be able to make yourself a person of value. So it's critical and it's something possible. So as we move on, it's important that I establish that fact, that there are programs and there are opportunities that have been laid down by these 3 countries that require people of value to be able to take them on. In the same way, there is a company for every single person of value. There's a company looking for persons of value. All right. This is a list of like what you would call Fortune 100 companies. Microsoft, Google, Apple. What do you see? Bank of America, Intel, AT&T, American Express, Netflix. These companies have valuations in the billions, trillions of dollars. I see $3 trillion organizations right here in terms of valuation. I see Google, I see Apple, I see Microsoft. All right. Now, for every person of value, these companies are hiring hundreds of thousands of people. Do you know how many Nigerians work at Microsoft? Do you know how many Nigerians work at Google, at Apple, at IBM? And some of these companies are not all tech companies, right? You see finance companies there, you see banks there, you see communications companies there, okay? Even the ones that are tech companies hire lawyers, they hire accountants, they hire finance people, they hire writers, they hire artists, they hire designers. That's one thing you need to know. Don't be that person that says, is it all about tech? No, but we're in a world that is mostly driven by technology. But one thing you need to understand is the fact that it's driven by technology means that more people who work in these very wealthy companies are going to be rewarded than people who work in other traditional companies. So at the time, it was the age of oil and gas. So if you worked in Chevron, Shell, Mobil, Schlumberger, or any of these companies, you would be highly paid. But if you were a lawyer at Microsoft, or you're a designer at Google, or you were a writer at Apple, regardless of where you are, what field you find yourself, affiliate yourself with some of these most valuable companies. Join their volunteering program if you're a student watching me while on campus. Join their community events if you're a young professional watching me. Speak to their recruiting managers. Create a profile that will attract you to them. Take on their certification programs, even if you're not in technology. What you're doing is that you're building yourself to become a person of value. And that's really what sets you apart in this kind of world that we're in right now. It's still a good time to text a friend, Share this with a cousin and tell them to join this amazing session that definitely will change your life. I am confident, like 1000% confident, that if you stay to the end of this webinar, what you would have learned is enough for you to drive yourself on the journey to global relevance. I used to talk about this about 11 years ago as a young man leading a campus fellowship. I would talk about how global relevance is important, how we are called to a global world, how our assignment is global, and what we need to do today to begin to get on to the journey of global relevance. And those who knew me, those 10 years ago, we understand that the statements and the learnings are still consistent with some of the things I had shared earlier. At first, Africa was my all-star. My goal was to secure Africa, to conquer and get to the highest peak of my career in Africa. And in 5 years of working at one of the top companies around the world at Microsoft, it was clear that I had done my part and I will still do more. But for that phase of my career, I had seen an opportunity to do so much within the African continent and then be able to do more. And while I do not consider myself as accomplished in any way, I am on a journey that is clearly visible to many people who are students of history and can see that relevance is possible regardless of where you're coming from. And your background doesn't have to put your back on the ground, right? So some of these companies you're looking at right here, are you following them on LinkedIn? Are they part of the companies you've added as your interest? How many jobs in these companies have you applied for? How many certifications by these companies have you taken? How many LinkedIn learning programs organized by these guys have you taken? Do you have any friends that work there? Have you added contact persons? Have you asked them for a referral? You want to go global? Have you applied to these companies? There are people who have been hired from Lagos, Nigeria to move to Microsoft in London. There are people who have gotten into internship programs in Canada. There are people who have been hired by H1B through the H1B visa by Microsoft from Nigeria. There are people who have gotten jobs in local subsidiaries of these organizations and have been able to walk their path to Canada, the United Kingdom, and to the United States. And why can't you do it? If them, why not you? I mean, think about it. If them, why not you? They don't have two heads. Someone said, okay, maybe during my own turn, I don't know what's going to happen. Why should it be during your turn that you will not know what's going to happen? That's why the foundation of all of this is for you not to cast away your confidence, because it has great capacity to provide you with reward. Never cast away your confidence in what you can do. Many a times in life, even when I'm not certain what the outcomes will be, what I'm confident about, and learned this really early in life, that my self-esteem is really going to be proportional to the direction of the things that I get. Look at every single world leader you know, every single top manager in the world, every single top CEO of a company who really touched the world. They never cast away their confidence. They never let anybody depreciate their confidence. And it's really important. And if you can check the indices of some of the most prosperous countries on earth, you will see that their culture carries a lot of confidence. And in countries where there's poverty, they are the most conservative, they are the most, silent, the most quiet. Sometimes they are the most people whose cultures actually taught them not to speak where elders speak, not to talk where elders are talking, not to question anything, to silence their curiosity and to reduce every single value that they have about themselves just because they're trying to grovel around for their next meal. Now, let's take it slow. Let's take it slow. When you look into these companies, do you see yourself as someone who can work in one of them? Or do you see yourself as somebody who is not good enough for them? Do you see yourself as someone who can actually position your resume to be able to work in all of these places? Whether you're a student today or why can't you desire it? Why can't you desire that a random young boy from Modakeke in Osun State, who had just got the opportunity to serve in a professor's office in the Federal University of Technology in Akure, not in Lagos, would find one of his friends working one day to tell him about a job at Microsoft, and he would apply an interview over the next 5 months and then land the job in October of 2014. It's not just nothing short of a miracle, but also nothing short of preparation, meeting opportunity. So what are you doing today to be able to land yourself? Because this, number one, if you are trying to do Canada Express entry, if you're trying to go to the United States through UK Technician, if you're trying to go through America through the O1 visa, you're following the pathways that have been laid down by government. And I spent a lot of time talking about it last week, all right? What you're doing is that you're spending a lot of time using the pathways that have been laid down by government. But also there are pathways that have been laid down by corporates. These pathways are in line with what the government has laid down, because you still need to get a visa. There's no such thing as a Microsoft visa or a Google visa to Canada, but there is a Microsoft pathway, a Microsoft employee pathway, a Wells Fargo employee pathway, a Goldman Sachs employee pathway. And some of these organizations can either hire you directly from there, they can use a labor broker, or they can add on to you from a university. Yes, that university you've been running away from. I don't want to go back to school. Why don't you begin to see school as a means to an end? Why don't you begin to see getting global education as a means to an end? Why don't you begin to see getting that international education as your opportunity? I'm going to give you examples of people you look at as role models today. Governor Obaseki of Edo State, for example. You know, Ike Chioke is Mr. Ike Chioke is partner in Afri Invest. Some of these guys, some of the CEOs of the banks you look at today, they all came to the United Kingdom, United States to take master's program, got hired by some of the top organizations in the United States, learned at Merrill Lynch. Some of them learned at Bank of America. Some of them learned at JP Morgan. And then they brought back the expertise to give a country that was desperately in need of that expertise. And then they built large company conglomerates that are now representing the reason why some of them say you can't leave Nigeria. You need to be here to build Nigeria. But in the 90s, all of these same people were seeking these new opportunities around the world. The woman you call today, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, was in the United States to study. Many of these guys got opportunities that led them to the companies that I'm showing you today. And they got access and value. They increased and doubled their strength and capacity, and they can now be considered as people of interest in a positive way for many of these countries. In fact, some of them waited up until they got their residencies and their citizenship before they moved back to Nigeria. So you need to be strategic here and let nobody deceive you, okay? If anybody is telling you your purpose is connected to Nigeria, tell them there is no such thing. If they tell you your destiny is connected to Nigeria, tell them there is no such thing, okay? Your destiny is global. You are human. The people who live in Nigeria today migrated from somewhere. The people who are indigenous people of Nigeria today came from somewhere. Some of them were originals in the land, some moved from somewhere. And then 100 years ago, some guy picked up a piece of paper and drew the maps of a country that eventually gained sovereignty, initially colonized, and then gained sovereignty, and has failed to understand its own complexity over the last 60 years. How on earth can you say that your destiny is defined by that country, or your purpose is defined by that country? Yes, you might be connected in that you have something to add to that economy. It has given you a lot, if it has, and you want to give back to it. That's okay. I have the same mindset, all right? But never let anyone, particularly those who have created opportunities for themselves and for their children, without letting you know, be the architect of your direction. Use your basic education and native intelligence to understand that what we're saying is you can get these opportunities, become a resident in another country, get the opportunity to become a citizen in that country, get global power, and you will be relevant back home. You will be accepted even more than your peers that decided to wait at home. You would have a global worldview, and you would have that capacity. Again, my goal in this month's webinar series, because it's going to be another one next week, is not to convince anybody. I'm hoping those who watch this are those who are already convinced and who really care about changing their lives. So we've talked about paths that are laid down by governments. If you check the Vesti app as of today, if you're using the updated version, please update. Yes, there's still a few issues with the current release, but don't worry, it's going to be fine. Your main services are still there, working very fine. Go into the Vesti app and click on Advice so you can see the different country-specific content. If you see any form of jargon, maybe some tags and all of that, make sure you update your app and use the current version. Now, why I'm saying this is because it's connected. Don't forget, this app is only about 90 days old, so we're making it better every day. I must say that. I must thank all of you who are trying this. Some students just paid for their UK visa this morning. A lot of people paying for West, paying for service. I'm seeing a lot of traction and momentum, and I'm super excited for all of you who are taking these decisions, because 1 year from now, think about where you will be. I digress. So let's move back to basically think through like some of these pathways that the governments have provided. In the United Kingdom, you have a couple of opportunities: education, religion, the UK Tech Nation visa. All of these opportunities have a pathway. I wrote a post on Instagram yesterday about pathways, and somebody looked at me and said, "Are you sure the UK really has a pathway to citizenship?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" The problem is you listen to those who ran away to the United Kingdom. Those are the people you listen to. Those who ran away to the US, those who ran away to Canada, who after running away didn't regularize themselves. They're just running around, no papers, no legality of any kind. For almost every country, particularly these 3 countries we're examining today, even some of the countries that don't usually grant citizenship, like Singapore and the United Arab Emirates, are beginning to consider these things. Like Japan are beginning to consider these things, let alone the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom has been giving citizenship for a long time. And same with the United States and same with Canada. There is a clear pathway. It's in their immigration blueprint. It's right there on the government websites. We just don't care to take a look at it. We just don't care to research. And you don't deserve to move legally to any of those countries if you're too lazy to actually read what they have set down. All right? You can't be that person. You can't be that person who is just, deciding that they won't make a commitment to succeed. All right? At this very wonderful time, I'm welcoming my friend and brother from another mother, Mr. Luis Omolayo Adekola, who is joining me today to share some interesting things with you. I'm making it a surprise for all of you. I know many brilliant people, but this guy is sound and passionate, and is one person that I'm so grateful to have as a friend. All right. So it's important you use the Vesti app to be able to see what other. So I can't stay today. People ask me questions like, "Hey, how can I move to Australia?" It's right there in the app for 10 countries. And we're going to keep adding more countries. We're going to add 100 countries before the end of this year. How you can move to 100 countries. Powerful stuff. Just showing people. We don't want you to be wandering around the World Wide Web. We want you to have a place where you can. And very soon, once you click on the country, top 3 countries you want to move to, you'll be able to access provider services, attorneys, lawyers, real estate consultants, people who can help you to settle into that country, people who can support you with a statement of purpose, who can help you with your PhD admission. You're going to find these providers there supporting you to be able to get done what needs to be done. All right. So go into that app right now. If you haven't downloaded it, go into the Vesti app, go into the App Store or into the Play Store. I want to say into the Vesti Store. I'm sure someday we're going to have a Vesti Store that is going to maybe have a variety of additional layers of services built upon it. I'm not going to bore you with all of that vision and roadmap right now. But yeah, you can do this. So apart from that, also, we're bringing to Vesti a number of private sector pathways that can help you, jobs, opportunities that you can use. But today I'm still going to share some critical ones. I'm going to run real quickly because I told my friend he's going to come on at 9:45. So, and he's very punctual. He's been here at 9:40. So I'm going to run up real quickly so I can get to the very point where I want him to come in just before he gives us a session. I'm going to spend a lot of time today answering questions. People, please start getting your questions ready. That's what responsible students do. You know what I'm saying? You have to ask me a question. Come on now. People pay me $1,000 for a 1-hour clarity session. And I kid you not. Okay. So if I'm here for a session with you, I bring some of the best minds. Please ask questions. Please ask questions. This is very, very, very important. All right. So what are those possible pathways? Education is still very important. Now, I've told you, see education as a means to an end. Don't say I'm 45. I can't go back to school. Who said so? What you're saying is that I can't improve. What you're saying is that I can't advance. What you're saying to yourself is that I can't really do everything it takes to secure the future of my children. That's what you're saying. So you got to be able to begin to look at it. I hope that challenges someone today. Work and business. I've told you, position yourself and you need to be proactive. Right at this time in my previous company, which, by the way, we'll be announcing a CEO soon. We're working with a number of people, about 128 of them right now, and they will be speaking to professionals from Capital One and Google tonight at this same time to learn how to position themselves to be proactive. You know what I'm saying? So you got to position yourself, redo your resume, go on LinkedIn and, edit the keywords in your resume, acquire a new skill, list a new award, set a target of when you're going to learn this, and learn this, add value to yourself. Then in the special abilities category, build your profile and change your life. You can use 1 year to qualify yourself for the O1 visa, 1 year to qualify for the technician visa. You can spend less than 1 year, and in 3-4 weeks, these guys will recognize you and approve you. I am telling you, I work with people who are trying to build their profile over the next 6 months to 1 year. I tell them the specific things that are on the criteria board that they need to do for them to be recognized as a special ability person. Religion, non-profit, and lottery and residency programs remain very vital ways. I spent a lot of time last week sharing this. You want the replay of that, make sure you join the exclusive at the end of this session. All right. Now, special abilities. This is important because I promised you guys I was going to dwell a little on the UK today. All right. The special abilities visa in the United Kingdom is called the Tech Nation visa. This Tech Nation visa has been so powerful. It provides you the opportunity to stay in the United Kingdom for up to 5 years, and you can apply for indefinite stay after then. It's just completely phenomenal. Think about it. They use your unique background, skills, and achievements. It's basically for employees and also for founders. If you have technical and business background, you're qualified. Exceptional talent and exceptional promise routes, depending on your experience. So it means that even if you're not already that person who has used the last 10 years to do groundbreaking things like founding CC Hub or creating ventures platform or working at Google, and I'm telling you, some of the people who are beneficiaries of these kind of opportunities have passed through some of these organizations I mentioned. Even if you're not that kind of person, you can spend the next 6 months to 1 year to actually position yourself for the opportunity to be that person. Isn't that phenomenal? Just working with the right consultant or with the right person, you can actually build the kind of profile on GitHub, build the kind of profile on LinkedIn, build the kind of profile in terms of your community activities, build the kind of profile that totally is good enough for these special classifications. The visa is granted for up to 5 years, extend as many times as you need. Can you imagine that? Highly flexible, not tied to a specific job, company, or location like the H-1B visa of the United States. Family may join you subject to requirements. Travel abroad and return to the UK at any time. Technician visa can lead to a permanent residence in the UK. No limit on the number of visas available. So there is no cap. All right. And you can start your application by just checking out the Tech Nation website. All right. We're going to spend more time putting some of these things once we firm up some of our partnerships inside the Vesti app. But as of today, you can basically go on. In fact, there is an article in Migration Fries about Tech Nation visa, and the link is right there. If you don't know what Migration Fries is, once you log into your Vesti app, you see a series of articles that are scrolling. They're like Migration Fries. Think about it as snacks, quick consumption articles. Make sure you read everything up. And we're adding new migration articles every now and then. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I decided to spoon feed you guys a little today. And pardon me if I use that word and it's a little offensive. People on my Telegram group know I don't spoon feed people. If you ask a question about, please, which university should I apply to? I will ask you to Google it because that's typically what everybody should learn to do. As a matter of fact, the list of websites of universities that I've given you today in the United States, in the United Kingdom, and in Canada, if you care to do a screenshot, you can do that for later. Basically, it's just to be able to give you an idea of which schools exist because there are thousands of them. And so when somebody asks a question and say, can you give me 3 schools I should apply to? You're literally saying, please spoon feed me with 3 schools I should apply to. So that's why I took the liberty to actually list out some of the schools that are in the United States, United Kingdom, and Canada that do not require any form of English language tests, all right? So because that's another question people ask. Please, can I skip IELTS? That's the next question people ask. And all of these ones I've listed here actually do not take TOEFL or IELTS. Some of them actually take programs that are more residential, meaning that when you get into the school, you can actually do an English language program if they cannot confirm that you did your instruction, that you were instructed for your bachelor's in English language, all right? So I'm sorry, I wanted to go through the list of all of these schools, but I'm going to have to run off it, just take a screenshot of it, so that once you do that, that can basically be a list that can guide you. And as I always say to people, don't apply to one school. Don't apply to 2 schools. Don't come and tell me they gave me an admission of 14 and it's £14,000 for the United Kingdom and no scholarship. No, apply to 9 schools, 10 schools. All right. Find those ones that have little or no application fees. All right. Apply to them and then compare which school gave me funding, which school gave me more funding than the other, which school has a lower tuition but better curriculum. And then when you can compare like that, you'll be better. Then, of course, in case you've not been told, I keep telling people, and it seems like a discovery to them. Many of these schools allow installments. They have to allow installments. So many of these schools won't ask you to pay fully before you land on campus. So start first with that installment. Sell what needs to be sold. Make this investment and do what needs to be done. I did a Cornell University program when I was 21. I did a Cornell University program on executive leadership. The program cost about maybe 90,000 naira at the time or so. I had to borrow money from one of my friends whose dad, of blessed memory now, is very, very rich. And I thought my friend was not going to ask for the money back. She asked because her parents taught her well. She asked for the money back and I paid out of my nose. I was hoping she would just dash me, that kind of thing, And I always tell this story, and I made those sacrifices. When my parents were going to buy me my first computer, they took cooperative to do so. I don't know what else is the least, cadre you can be in Nigeria that we haven't been as a family growing up. But thanks to God today, all that is a story in the past. All right? So it's important. Have you ever eaten soybean chaff? Soybean chaff being fried as eggs. Do you know what that means? Soybean chaff, if you're Yoruba, is basically eri from soybean, all right? And then it's been fried back as fried eggs and served. Of course, it's nutritious, but it's dehumanizing. Have you ever had to put that as egusi, the chaff from soybean, and then you put that as egusi in soup? So I'm talking about the least of the least, but you just have to. I hear people say things today. Do you know what hardship is? Some of you talk about hardship, but you've not really seen hardship. Today, there are lending companies. Without even involving your parents, you can save up to a certain amount and borrow money and pay school fees. All right? But people complain. But again, that's not my goal here today. My goal isn't to convince you. My goal is to just tell you what is possible. So many of these schools allow installments. And real quickly, I'm going to allow my friend, before I show you the next, because I made a list of some fellowships, scholarships, and acts. I don't know, for some reason I had a block. I couldn't write many of them from my head like I used to. But if you wanted to, you can just do a random search for that. But I have a friend here tonight who's been a beneficiary of the Chevening Scholarship for the United Kingdom. There are other scholarships in the United Kingdom or that can take you to the United Kingdom. There's the PTDF scholarship, which I failed to add here. The PTDF scholarship is in Nigeria. Yes, they say, yes, you have to know somebody that knows somebody, but I've met people, friends, who didn't know anybody and who qualified for the PTDF. Because one thing we fail to understand in Nigeria is that even when they use leg for stuff, they can't use leg for everything. If there is 100 people, maybe they use leg for 30 people and 70 people got it on merit. All right? So understand that you can still get certain things on merit. I know there are some establishments in Nigeria that almost everybody there knows somebody. For example, the Central Bank of Nigeria. Okay? I'm old enough to know that these things are happening. But I'm saying that don't join the pity party and tell yourself, oh, I can't succeed. Oh, I can't make it simply because somebody has told me that you have to know somebody that knows somebody. So MasterCard Foundation, Chevening Scholarship, National Science Foundation in the US have some scholarships. And if you go to opportunitydesk.com by my friend Grace Yejiamazu, if you check it out, you'll basically be able to see like several scholarships that are listed there. You just need to do some work, all right? Fellowships include the Yale Global Leaders Program. Don't worry, I don't want to rush through this. I want to tell you guys about this fellowship, but I told my friend he will come by 9:45 and I know he might have something else to do. So I'm going to have him come online and I will come back to this session that has to do with fellowships and accelerators so I can tailor you through and sort of explain certain things to you. If you're still here, please say something in the chat and please say welcome, Mr. Lewis. Say welcome, Mr. Lewis, and thank him for coming here. I want to see the excitement really hot in the chat right now for this, my friend that is here right now. Over to you, Lewis. I wanted you to share with us what your journey was like, how you found the opportunity. You're looking great as usual. You know what I'm saying? Even when we were in school, when we were in college, and, everybody was still rough and scruffy, Luis, you've always been fine like this. You know what I'm saying? You've always been like, yeah, your clothes always, everything is always ironed. Like, you've had it like, not like you've had it easy, but you've always known how to like present yourself, even like from the days of enactors and everything. And I'm always inspired by that and what you're doing today. So please introduce yourself and feel free to share your story. Maybe once in a while I could interject, but please just feel free to take a narrative. Yes, we are in the back room, but it's live on YouTube and people are having a wonderful time. If you had a second device, you can turn that on just to see what's going on in the chat section if you wanted to, but you would have to mute that one so that the feedback won't interfere. So over to you, my friend. How's it going?
Thank you. I mean, absolutely fine. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction now and earlier when I joined.
Yes, sir.
And I was just like, see who's talking, see who's talking. But it's always a great pleasure to be doing anything with you, having you on my own platform to speak or coming over to yours to speak, because you're doing amazing. You've always been an inspiration to me, Shola, and I don't take this for granted. So anytime you call me, I'm always ready. So thank you for having me here. And for everyone joining, wherever you are, good morning, afternoon, and night, or evening to you, wherever you're listening to us from. So my name is Louis Adekola. I had my first degree in Nigeria. I studied educational management from Adekunle Ajasin University in Akungba. And even though myself and Shola were in school at the same time, we weren't in the same school, but somehow change makers always meet. So we were always like doing a lot of things together at the time. And so after then, I have done a lot of work in development. I've done a lot of work in the education space. And then I had my master's at the University of Lagos. And then I went on to the University of Sussex, where I did another master's in international education and development. Again, my master's at Unilag was in comparative education. So my life has always been education. So what I do today is I work with African universities. And so my dream really is to transform higher education in Africa such that we can have a system where we can from within our continent provide what we seek in other continents as well. By the time we're building this list after a while, I want to be able to see a lot of universities in other parts of Africa. And that's the truth. That's the dream that we have. People like myself and Shola have always been very passionate about Africa. Anyway, so about my journey as a Chevening scholar, I will not lie to you guys, and I'm just going to tell you as best as I can. I didn't try a lot of scholarships. My story was a bit different. I didn't try so many scholarships. I just said to myself, it is Chevening or nothing else. And that was just it for me. So for many years, I was trying Chevening, and I was like, I have to get whatever they do and they get this Chevening, I must get it. Because when I started exploring a lot of scholarships and I saw Chevening, I was like, that's it. That's my scholarship. So it's different. My story is different from my elder brother, who is someone who is more brilliant than me. He's done a lot of amazing. He's very, very intelligent and stuff. He tries his hand on a lot of scholarship and he's gotten a lot of that. He's on his PhD on scholarship. So that's just how it can be different, just to understand where you stand and so you can do what you need to do. But I've always said to myself, it has to be the University of Sussex. It has to be this course, International Education and Development, and it has to be the Chevening Scholarship. So what I did was I read a lot. I read a lot. I was following people who were applying for Chevening, even when I wasn't applying. So I read a lot about Chevening. I knew a lot about Chevening. And luckily for me, I was working in the international education space. So I knew a lot about UK universities before I even got Chevening. So I know where universities are. I know the ones that are better. I know the ones that are located where. I know why this one is better in terms of location and all of those things. So by the time I wanted to apply for Chevening, I was so ready. And I didn't apply for it once and got it. My first application to Chevening was in 2014. I didn't get it until 2019, 5 years later. I wasn't applying every year. I heard about Chevening in my office in 2013, and my boss just came to the office one day and said, all these little people that are getting Chevening, Louis, they haven't done half of what you have done. Because she knew a bit of my story from what I've done when I was in school and all that. She's like, many of these boys getting it, they don't have your track record. that you can get it. And so I said, okay, the following year I'm going to apply. So 2014, I applied. And by the time the feedback came, I knew I was not ready for Chevening at that time. Even though I had the track record, I had the story, but I didn't know how to tell that story in a way that would get me that opportunity. So I knew I needed to do some work. So after that period, I got a job and then moved away. And I was, okay, I'm going to use that time to prepare. My next application to Chevening was was supposed to be 2017, but I didn't apply. Myself and my friend applied. I told him about Chevening. He applied for the first time in 2017 and he got it. So that's another part of these stories that you need to understand. Some people can get it on one go. It could be you. Some people need to try it once or twice. It could be you. And that's just how life is. So I didn't submit my application in 2017, but I applied again in 2018 and then for 2019, which was what I got. So the final one that I got was the third application I submitted. So what is Chevening really? The Chevening Scholarship is one of the UK government scholarship is housed or managed by the FCDO, which is the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office of the United Kingdom. And the other side of it is Commonwealth. So many people are familiar with Commonwealth or Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, but this one is Chevening. And I can't remember what year it started, but now it's been running for about 50 years. And there's been thousands, over 50, when we were on board, there are over 50,000 alumni of the Chevening Scholarship. In my set, we were 57 from Nigeria. So the number fluctuates every year. And in my year, it was about 1,700 of us from all over the world. There are just very few countries that are not eligible for the Chevening Scholarship, but many countries of the world are eligible. So you are going to be competing against the best of the best from all over the world. But who says you are not the best? Really, and that's one thing I think everybody needs to realize, that when they say, oh, this thing is highly competitive, I will say to them, I am competitive. If it's competitive, if anybody else can get it from any country, I can get it. So it gives you full funding to study in any UK university, although not any, but most of the UK universities are listed under the Chevening scholarship list of universities. And it covers your tuition up to, I think, £18,000. I think it probably would have increased now, but it covers your tuition. Some people, their tuition is very high, especially for those studying, say, MBA. I had a friend who was from Haiti and was doing his MBA at the University of Oxford, got the Chevening Scholarship, but the Chevening Scholarship tuition cap could not cover it. So, but somehow it got an international scholarship that covers the rest of its tuition. So universities oftentimes, when they see, or even other funding organizations see that you have gotten the Chevening, they are happy to support you and match the fund, So, but there's a cap. I think there's a cap to the tuition fees that Chevening pays. It probably will be higher than 20K now. It also covers your living expenses, meaning you get stipend every month from the UK government every month for 1 year. It's not till the end of your visa, no. It is for 1 year. So it means from September to, say, August, that's when you get your stipend, and then you can save from it, because it's a lot of money. I mean, it's not like it's too much, but if you manage it very well, you would still have a lot of money saved up for the rest of your visa, and even sometimes for when you're coming back home, if you decide to come back immediately. So it covers that. It covers your flight. Chevening books your flight when you're ready to go. Chevening covers your all the excess payment that you have to pay. Your IHS, which is your health insurance, covers your TB test that you will do in the country. I think for that, they will ask you to do the test and then they reimburse you. It covers everything else that you really want to pay for. Money for moving from, if your flight is to London, for example, those of us that I studied in Brighton, so my flight was to Gatwick. From Gatwick Airport going to London, I had a stipend to get me going for that period. There's also a stipend that they will give to you at the end of your program to let you cover moving your things and packing stuff. So it's a the total thing is like you getting paid to actually go and study, and it just releases a lot of stress from you. And again, in terms of visa, once you get your final award letter from Chevening, you're almost like you've gotten a visa, because at that point, the kind of visa application you will feel is different from the general visa application. There's a different one for Chevening scholars, for Commonwealth scholars, and for Marshall scholars. So that's the Chevening scholarship. I don't know if anybody has any question, but I think that's the Chevening scholarship. When will it open? When will it open this year? It's going to open on August 3rd. So the way it works is Chevening application is a journey. It's like a job. And that's why I advise people to take it serious. If you're going to get any scholarship, you have to take it serious. You can't play on, oh, this person applied for Chevening and got Chevening, so me too, I will apply for it and get it. It's like taking a full-time job with your full-time job. So it's going to start now. People who applied last year, many of them, I think most of them have not even gotten their final award letter now. And this is already July. So it's like a full 1 year journey. It's going to open on the 3rd of August this year, and it probably will be open for about a month. So I advise you to go on the Chevening website and read a lot about it, find out what the details of that, and if you have other people from other countries, find out if there is a difference in the date that is going to open. But I know for Nigeria and many other countries, it's actually going to open on the 3rd of August, I think, for everybody, actually. So, and we'll end about a month. What do you need? So you're going to need, Chevening is not one of those scholarships that requires you to have a first class. A good first degree is important, but it's not compulsory that you have a first class or a 2-1. People who have a 2-2 can actually apply for Chevening. I don't know, some people will come back and say they've had the challenge, but I've actually asked the program officer, and they said that's not a restriction. So you need a good background. You need to have identified 3 universities in the UK that you want to apply. And I'm going to talk briefly about these universities. 3 universities that you want to apply to and 3 courses. I advise you to pick courses that are related, just so your stories are coherent, because you don't want to pick a course on education, another course on public health, another course on climate change. Even though you are passionate about changing the world, you need to be focused on what you want to do. Even though some of us can do many things at the same time, pick one and sell to Chevening. That's what is important. So you would need to have at least 2 years of work experience. And it doesn't have to be a full stretch of experience. It could be at different points in different organizations. And your volunteering experience also counts as well. Once you're able to account for that, that's what you're going to need. References. You're going to need to have at least 2 references. I think it's 2 references. And I advise you, it is not enough to go and get a governor to write a reference for you. I advise people to get good people of high repute to write reference for them. But what is more important is someone that can say good things about you, especially those that can write from their heart and write specifically for you. Not people that will go and download content of reference letter and put your name in there, because this is a very tough application. You need someone that can personalize a reference letter for you. When I got 2 reference letters. I struggled to get the other one because I wanted my vice chancellor to write it. But when I read that first one that I got from the CEO of an NGO that I was working with, I knew I'd cleared through that stage, because that reference was just it. So you need to get that one. I think those are the major things. And in the course of your application, you're going to write 4 essays. The first essay is on leadership. How have you displayed leadership? And while people would say, oh, Chevening is usually for people who have NGOs or something, or people who have been leading big organizations, that might be true, because at the end of the day, those people are able to easily point out how they've displayed leadership. And that's the first essay that you write for your Chevening application. But that doesn't stop you, even if you don't have an NGO. I know a lot of people that doesn't have an NGO. See, it's Nigeria that we have a lot of young people having NGOs. In many other countries, they work with NGOs. They don't really have it themselves. So, but how have you, in your organization, whether it's an NGO, it's a company, it's an institution, or it's a church or a mosque, how have you displayed leadership? So in your capacity, how have you displayed leadership? The second one is on networking. How myself and Shola, we've known each other now for how many years, Shola? Almost 15 years or more. More than 10 is about 15 years now. We met when we were teenagers and we've been together. That's the power of networking. So so the second essay is about networking. How have you leveraged your skills, your networking skills? How has that contributed to your growth? And how is that going to impact your life in the future? Then the third one is about study in the UK. The question is about what are the courses that you have picked? Why have you picked them? Why do you want to study in this environment? Why the UK? So you need to be able to prove to them that you know what you're talking about and you're really keen on going to the UK. It's not like you are just, you've gone to the website to pull something from a university's website, because they will know. So you have to be able to prove that. The last essay is on careers is about your career. The last essay is on careers, and it means how will all of these things, and with the experience that you have in the UK, how is that going to impact the future that you envisage for yourself? All of these essays are 500 words each. I advise you to exhaust the 500 words or go a little lower. Don't go so much lower so it doesn't feel like you don't know what to say. And don't go above it, because that's a max. So 500 words. Then supports are available. I made a list here. So supports are available. Some of us Chevening scholars are able to provide support. Some Chevening scholars are not able, not because they don't want to, but it's because maybe because of work or something. Everybody have their lives. So some of us are able to provide support in terms of advice or ongoing support for people who are applying. Some of us even go to the extent of reviewing essays. But you don't have to give your essay to an alum to read. You don't have to give your essay to a scholar to read, because at the end of the day, the story is yours to tell. So, but if you feel like you would be more comfortable with a scholar or an alum of Chevening to read your essay and give you feedback, please take that advantage. Link up with people on LinkedIn, connect with them, send them messages, and ask them if they're able to. And if they can't, don't insult them, because these things go around. You know, a lot of people come to our LinkedIn and ask us to review essays for us. And then we're telling them, I remember when I was doing my dissertation and somebody was saying I should review. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this right now. Please give me 1 week. And the person goes back to me and say that, oh, all of you Chevening scholars are very proud. What is in Chevening that somebody cannot get? And I was like, why? And I like this last one. I reviewed about 53 essays. Do you understand? It's a lot of work that we do. So try to connect with a lot of people and see the people that can help you. Also, the website is important. Don't write to anybody if you haven't studied the website, because they are going to refer you back to it. Study the Chevening website. Check on YouTube about Chevening. There's so many videos done by many people. So check all of those as well. Now, in terms of choosing universities, now there's a trick to this that many people don't know, and many scholars will not tell you. Chevening scholarship is not entirely funded by the government. Your tuition, 80% of it is paid by the government, and 20% is paid by the institution. So the institution must be able to give that 20%, otherwise they won't be able to take as many scholars. There are some universities that has the capacity to take many. There are some universities that doesn't have the capacity because they don't have the 20% to give. That's why you see some institutions in the UK have 8 scholars per year. And then you see some institutions like mine having over 120. And then you see some universities in London having over 150 scholars. That's based on capacity. So my university is the University of Sussex, and University of Sussex has always been in the top 3 universities taking scholars every year. It's almost like a goal. It's like a target for the international office. So Sussex, UCL, just do your research, really. Just do your research, and I'm happy to talk more about it, but I know about Sussex very well. Sussex is home to Chevening scholars. So if you want to apply for Chevening, I advise you to consider Sussex. And especially for those who probably have track record in development, Sussex is #1 university in the world for development studies. So it all adds up. Because it's easier to tell your story when you're saying, oh, this is what I want to do, this is the impact I want to make, and all of that, and then I'm going to this university. You can easily connect it to your dream or career plan and all that from that stage. I think that's about the universities. The last thing I want to say, I don't know if Shola has any further question that you want to ask me, is not everybody is going to get Chevening. And that's just the truth. Not everybody on this call will get Chevening. Not everybody in Nigeria will get Chevening. After I was said, because of COVID, the numbers of scholars dropped. I think the last one was about 40 something people. So not everybody in this country will get, or on this call will get Chevening. But what will stand you out is really, really how you tell your story. It is not in how different or massive the story is how you are able to tell that story in a convincing, in a coherent, and in a passionate format. So even if you get Chevening, you need to consistently pay attention to that, because the bond you sign with Chevening is that you have to be back in your country. So if you don't have plans to come back to your country, maybe Chevening is not for you. So you have to be back in your country for at least 2 years, for 2 years really, before you can proceed to other places or back to the UK to continue your study or to get a work. So, but the idea is what you've learned, you're coming back to your country to make impact. But one thing I will tell you for fact is Chevening changes your life, as many other scholarships, like the Commonwealth Shared, like Erasmus Mundus. I don't know if you have that word on the list. Erasmus Mundus is amazing. And Shola, I was seeing some statistics that they produced, and it was the statistics of universities in Nigeria that has the highest number of people going for Erasmus Mundus. And your university is like massive, it's like up there, and all the other universities are coming. FUTA is like way higher than every other uni. And I'm like, you guys are not joking in that uni. And I was like, what's Illumani? Yeah, so anyway, so but Chevening would change your life, because the connection, the kind of link that you would have, even when you're back in your country, it changes you. Then if you don't, now the final now is, if you're part of those who probably won't get this scholarship, because some people talk about scholarship from today to next year, they won't get a scholarship. It's not a curse. It's not, let's just face facts. It's not curse. It's just the way it is. So, but what are the other options? Shola already talked about universities that have affordable fees. I still work in overseas education. There are some universities that charge as low as 7,950 right now in the UK. There are universities that are about 10,000. There are universities that are about 12,000, and you still get some discounts. So if you have any question, please feel free. I don't know, Shola, if you're probably just going to check my handle or something on my handle is just Prince Louis. You can write to me or something, and I'm happy to provide any support or guidance in that regard. So there are so many options that you can tap, and the UK now is a very, very, if you're trying to move to the UK, you want to jackpot to the UK, this is a good time, because post-study work has come back. If you're going for masters, you can apply for the post-study work, your graduate route with your family, to stay back in the UK for at least 2 more years. Within that period, you can get a job and stay permanently, or you can from there move to another country. Applying for visa from the UK is easier than applying from Nigeria. Everybody knows that. So if you're going for PhD, after your PhD, you have additional 3 years that you can stay. So right now is a really good time to consider going to the UK for your program. It's the easiest way to actually relocate, and there are so many ways you can go about it. So thank you, Shola, for having me. I have been talking for. Thank you.
You know, the reason I really wanted to have you come on this, and I kept saying it, and you've done a fantastic job. Everybody in the chat, please appreciate Mr. Louis Adekola. I've asked them to follow you at Prince Louis on Instagram. Make sure you follow him, bombard him with messages, but be kind. It will take its time to get through to them. It's the work we've been doing selflessly for the past 10 years. I don't need to know you to be able to share insight and advice with you. Like I've met people at events who the way they hug me means we have known each other for 8 years. We've never met, but we greet each other for birthdays, we greet each other for ceremonies. They learn from me, I learn from them. And that just makes them feel like we've known each other. And that's how it is. We answer people because we feel we are called to people. All right. So it's important for you to understand that. And where you ended that session is probably one of the most critical. It is the fact that at such a time as this, the United Kingdom is so open to welcome people. And the pathway is clear. You get into the program, you perform excellently well, you have no choice. If you are in this program, as a matter of fact, some of the partnerships we're trying to do with international organizations is to demonstrate that some of the most committed, serious people are in the Vesti community. And if they wanted to find some of the most talented people, that's where they should come. So essentially, you have no choice. You get into that program, you do excellently well, you get your 2-year post-work study permit, work in the United Kingdom, use that as the pathway to enter the skilled worker stream that has just been created. You have no choice. And then you stay there, you have a residency the next 5 years, apply for indefinite stay. In your process of applying for indefinite stay, become special enough to apply for citizenship. Somebody told me, he said, there's no clear path to citizenship. I said, what are you talking about? Are you talking about people that ran away, who don't have papers, who have been living illegally in the United States in the United Kingdom for 9 years or 15 years, 20 years? Those people, well, the country, we have to create a way to bring them back, through all the different programs that have been created. US has its own called DACA and all of that. They're still debating it. But for those of you who went into education, you're legal for every single step of the way. You won't get Chevening scholarship and decide not to go back home. You're violating the terms of your visa. That's not the kind of people we are. You come back to your country, you contribute. You join KPMG, you join Accenture with that Chevening. You lead your own organization like Louis is doing, whatever you want. And it's consulting for big organizations as well. So you move back and you volunteer, you get back into maybe Microsoft, Google, Accenture, KPMG, Nestle, all of these companies are there. They're looking for returnees. You stay there for those 2 years. You find your pathway to move from that into the new country you are going to. That becomes your pathway into the new country you are going to. You move to Unilever, United States, Unilever, United Kingdom. You move back after that 2-year commitment is complete, but you come back with a lot of insight. That's if you are doing Chevening. If you are doing Commonwealth, I think there's a requirement for it as well. If you are doing PTDF, there's a requirement for it, but people flout that of PTDF easily because it's not heavily enforced and there's no community built around it. But there's several other programs. Erasmus Mundo, Luis was talking about it because you see the programs that are being taught in FUTA, like petroleum geophysics, electrical engineering, some of these departments, some of the professors there are alumni of those fellowships and have built very strong reputation in preparing students that continue to excel remarkably in those places. And also, regardless of what school you've gone to, whether it's FUTA or anywhere else that you've gone to, you can distinguish yourself. I always tell people, the United States has maybe the highest number of scholarships in the whole world. Over 4,000 scholarships, different programs. They're just there. National Science Foundation. We did a webinar with one of our friends. Luis, I don't know. I hope you're not in a hurry to go somewhere. I'm glad you're riding it with us. A friend of mine, we did a webinar together. You can find it on Vesti's YouTube. We basically were sharing that, one of the ways to get scholarships is to follow the money. Go online and find out which professors have just received money. Write them an email. Send them your proposal. Read their papers. Tell them why you want to join them. Tell them why you want to do. You have to be conscious. It's not just put on your, look, listen. I'm not trying to build something that I hope millions and hundreds of millions of people end up using Vesti and become more upwardly mobile around the world. But the very truth is that there will always be people who won't take steps. There are people who just are on Facebook to just snap selfies. They don't care. Meanwhile, there are people on Facebook who have built brands. That's the same way. So you want to be that person who is going to be committed, to what's going on. So I want you to see what Louis has shared today about Chevening and use it as what we call a point of contact to several other scholarship opportunities that are out there. You don't be like Louis. Let me say this today. Don't be like Louis who just says, I love Chevening, that's what I want to do. Don't be deceived. Louis has gone to several other programs internationally. We have, he has seen the world in some way. So he was able to design his path and say, hey, I need this program because I know what it is. But there are some of you on this call today, and I know he shares the same persuasion with me as well. There's some of you on this program today who will not take Chevening because say maybe 60 people in the coming year. How long do you want to wait? So if you get qualified for Chevening, fantastic. If you don't, there are 1,000 other scholarship opportunities. I can't list them all. You got to go out and go list them and find them and take on those advantages. Louis, did you want to chime in there?
Yeah, because, and I wanted to say that it's also, a lot of this lies in the hands of people applying. If you're not ready to do your research, it's going to be hard for you 1,000 way more. There are, for example, I said, I wanted to go to, it was just Chevening for me, to be honest, but don't be like me. Try other ones because that's when you have options, you can pick other things. But one thing I wanted to share is, my top 3 schools, so I picked UCL. Of course, I had to pick two other schools, Sussex, UCL, and Bristol. When I was researching about them, because I wanted schools that are critical, and that's the difference between UK universities. There are some universities that are very critical. There are some that are very logical. So it's like two sides. So you have to pick, where do I belong, and all that. So I picked 3 schools. When I was checking Bristol, I was like, oh, Bristol has Think Big scholarship. I said, I'm applying for it. You know that in the course of just, chasing Chevening, I applied for that one and I got 20K. I got £20,000 from Bristol under their Think Big scholarship before I got Chevening. So I had to write back to them and say, I can't take this because I've gotten Chevening now. And I'm not coming to your school because I'm going to Sussex. Do you understand? So I think it's important for everybody to find out, to make their research, do their research about that. There's so many scholarships that are available out there. Find out about it. If you have any question, ask people that probably know so that they can guide you in the right path. And don't be afraid to approach people, especially if you are already going to master's, PhD, especially PhD level. Don't be afraid to write to people, follow the money, and then send them emails. Connect with people on Twitter, connect with people on LinkedIn. It really helps. And build your profile, because whether you are going to America or to Australia, your profile is really important. Don't just leave everything and say, oh, to chance. Be conscious about your efforts toward traveling. Because for me, my journey, like Shola said, I have gone for a lot of events, traveled to different countries before I went to the UK. So my story was different. I knew I needed to every year go somewhere, add to my profile, every year win an award. So I needed to keep scaling everything I'm doing every year. So be conscious and be deliberate about it. That's just what I wanted to add.
Louis, you're definitely not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere because I want to, you just spoke about where I'm going to, all right? Because I want to walk them through some 10 points on how you can add significant value to yourself. The kind of things we were doing in our early 20s, applying for One Young World, volunteering to go for an actors program, going to Rwanda, going to all parts of going to Ghana, just being part of Model United Nations and all of those kind of things. I wanted to share that with them because there is, let me tell you the 2 categories of people that I meet. And guys, I want you to pay attention. If you're still here with us, share this on your Telegram, share it on your Instagram, share it on LinkedIn. I want people, as many people as possible around, to basically see this playback. It's very important, okay? And one of the things I see, Louis, is the fact that many people are saying, look, I got admission, I don't have money. I got this, I don't have this. I got that. You see, there's something called double jeopardy. If you are poor in Nigeria, like you don't have money, at least be someone of value that is making impact. You remember how we used to look like back in the days? No, all our suits, we wear it. We didn't have cash, but we knew people. We were being invited to the US consulate, speaking at Rise National Youth Forum, winning debates, and all of those kind of things like that. Have one. You can't not have everything. Like, you need to have something. So that's what I keep saying. So people message me and like, I just got 3 admissions. I just did. So if you can't provide the cash from family and friends, then be willing to apply to 50 scholarships. I didn't say 5, 50. Be the one writing emails. Double jeopardy is when you can't afford both. There is no wealth, there's no providence, and then there is no tenacity to be able to get yourself, or capacity to be able to get into, rooms, events, speaking to people. Do you know how many conferences I wrote to my local government chairman and to the state governor and everybody? Just wrote to them, like out of the blues. I will qualify for a competition and write to them and say, I'm the only Nigerian representing Nigeria at so program. And that's it. Because other Nigerians did not even bother to apply. Or I say, oh, there are only 30 Nigerians selected for this, and I'm one of them. And I'm the only one from your state government. There are some of you who have gotten 16 admissions, 5, 7 admissions, but there is no street capacity to think about, hey, where is my money line? If it's not in my parents' hands, it has to be in the hands of a senator. Write to them. Write to them and say, sponsor me, I will represent you. There are people who write to a brand and say, sponsor me, I will represent you. There are real estate companies that are looking for ambassadors. Write to them. Like, you have to look for ingenious ways. There's a Migration Fry article on ways to crowdfund your education. You go check it out. Ways to fund your migration. It's inside the Vesti app. Listen, guys, Louis, you're going to have to stick with me, because so we can write on this together, because I wanted to be able to chime in, at some point. There is something I put together here, and let's see if I can find and share in time, that basically these were things I learned from some of my mentors, like Olakunle Shoriyan, when I was growing up, on things you needed to do, some of the acts. But I will talk a little about some of these fellowships just for a bit, before I move on to those specific things, because there are people here who might not, feel that they qualify for Chevening. You've heard from Louis, there's no such thing as feeling like you're not qualified. It's really just a question of what will your commitment be, to actually demonstrate and explain what your leadership has been about. If you hear me talk about the fact that I led Campus Fellowship, Louis, I don't talk about it like that. I'm like, I led a voluntary organization of 600 people over a period of 3 years. That's how I would describe the fact that I was a Campus Fellowship president. If you were the PRO of your student union or the PRO of your department, you're going to say that I guided the communications of more than 45 students over a period of time, or even humans, if you want. Like, you can describe any of your leadership endeavor or the opportunity that you have. When I teach self-leadership, I usually talk about the fact that if you're the first child in the family and you can tap your sibling to actually follow you to the bathroom at night, you're actually a leader. So all of these things can be demonstrated and explained in a way that people would never imagine that's what you're talking about. And these things are because, there's this argument about whether leaders are born or whether they are made. And depending on whichever side of the divide you are, what matters is that leadership is responsibility. And whether you took it as a matter of your intuition, or you took it because you had no choice, you are a leader. So take a look at the Yale Global Leaders Program. Go search for it. The Young Global Leaders Program. Go check out the YGL is the Young Global Leaders Program of the World Economic Forum. Go check out the Global Shapers Community of the World Economic Forum. Go check out the Ford Foundation Fellowship, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, the Facebook Research Fellowship. If you have a fantastic technology idea that you are building, find somebody who can help you to build it if you're not in technology, and apply to Techstars, to 500 Startups, to Y Combinator, to Austin Labs, to Peace Tech Accelerator, to Impact Ventures. These are just 6 out of maybe 500 accelerators and incubators that are out there. These are things that can take you to different countries. In 2014, after being beaten by life, I was like, okay, what is next? Then an organization I had been volunteering for invited me to be part of the few people representing Nigeria, alongside Olusola and 2 other people, to go to Germany to represent Nigeria in the African European Youth Parliament. Became my first exposure to Europe, and then became one of the things that would eventually change my life. But if I had not volunteered earlier for the youth, for the Youth Bridge Foundation, I would not have gotten that opportunity. And I keep sharing that today because that's another thing that took me to the United Nations. The same organization took me to the United Nations. So you must be part of something. And I'm going to show you how to get on these things. All right. It's critical and it's important. So what are those first things first? And Louis was trying to share some of them. First of all, you need to define your purpose. I don't care what your religious persuasion is, but one of the ways to go global is it starts from actually defining what your purpose is. And the reason is so you can have direction. Because if you don't know that you are beyond just a mass of flesh or a mass of meat, was walking the street of Lagos or walking the street of Abakaliki or walking the street of Ondo, if you don't think you're beyond that, then you will be one of those people who will listen to the fact that, well, people where they make and for this country, Jari make us stay. People where they make and Jari make a Kokuma stay. Yes, people that are making it are making it. The question is, if you stay in a place where opportunities are not equally distributed, you will most likely fall on you're living your life to chance. You most likely might be on the side of the divide that is not privileged. And you don't want that to happen. Because the people who have been privileged from the 1960s are still the same political class that are privileged. Of course, there are few people who are underdogs who have been able to rise, but what percentage of 200 million is that? So define your purpose, whatever you will use to determine that your life is bigger than this. I don't care what kind of persuasion is going to take you to that point. Agree with yourself within yourself that your life is just more than just a gentleman who is going about the street of Lagos not knowing what you're doing. Then get a bio written of yourself. How do you describe yourself? In writing your bio by yourself, you are basically describing yourself in third person. I did this as early as when I was 20. Olusola Amusan is a this. He loves to do X, Y. It's like, you know, that essay we used to write when we were in primary school, write about yourself. That's what you're trying to do. You're writing a bio about yourself. You have to present this bio. And when you write about yourself and you realize you can't write you can't write a lot of valuable things, it begins to challenge you to think about what's your contribution to the disorderliness of society. What's your contribution to the equilibrium of society? Are you contributing nuisance value? Or are you contributing real value to society? Like my mentor would say, what are you doing? So write a bio about yourself. Get a bio written about yourself. If you've done it a few times and you think you're not good enough, contract it out to somebody to write. There are people who will take $5 on Fiverr or Upwork to help you with that, or $20 to help you with that. Then get a personal website. Get a personal website. If you can't pay for one, write one on about.me, Wikipedia, LinkedIn, Medium. What you're doing is you're adding so much to yourself in the aggressive way that you will now begin to qualify. When you look at the criteria, that criteria you used to look at before for extraordinary ability for the UK, for the US, for Canada. Who qualifies for this scholarship? They call this eligibility. Is too loaded, as we like to say in Nigeria. This eligibility criteria is too loaded. Now you would suddenly realize you are becoming loaded for those opportunities. Come on now. Come on, if you understand me, I wanted to say something in the chat. Tell me if you understand me, because I want to know if you're following me today. All right? Write a book. There's so many things to write about in Nigeria. Write a book. If you've graduated, look, listen, your thesis in the university, from whatever school you graduated from, or if you're still not graduated, is supposed to be a publication in your name. Half of the time, we have done so much copy and paste from the internet that we don't have a voice in those publications. And it ends up becoming trash behind the, departments you graduated from. You know what I'm talking about? But you see, that first publication is one of your publications. If you want, do an extended further research on it and publish a book. Add it to the library, the national library of your country. Whether you're Ghanaian or Nigerian or Kenyan watching this, add it to the national library. Once you get the ISBN for a book, you have added it to the national library. If you want to go a step further, publish it in a second language. In French, in Portuguese, publish it in a second language. Pay a translator to publish in a second language. Add it to the national library of another country and get it published in that country. It's important. If you can't do that, write a memo. Write a memoir about yourself. I meant to say a memoir about yourself. Join a writing club. Just do something. Volunteer for at least 10 organizations every year. 5 locally and 5 internationally. Find them online on LinkedIn. Write it as a Google search and say 5 other organizations to volunteer. We're talking about how to add so much value to yourself that the UK, Canada, and the United Kingdom will begin to seek for you. We started first by showing you that there are government pathways and there are private sector pathways. There is nobody you're going to show within your resume that you volunteer for 5 relevant international organizations and 5 local international organizations that are relevant to your career that will not look at you with a second eye. They're going to take a second look at you. there's a chance that you're someone of value better than what society has set as a standard. Partner with a foreign national. Make donations to governments, police and fire departments, and document it. On my 22nd birthday, I think, or was it my 22nd or the 24th? I found a local police station and donated items to them. Published it in the newspaper. I documented it. It's very important. You need to donate to government. You don't say, oh, this government, what have they done for me? Document it. That's how to add value to yourself. It is strategic, and it happens everywhere in the world. Why did you think Bill Gates started philanthropy? Why did you think, just to help the world? Not just to help the world. Philanthropy good is a strategy. Social good is a strategy to add to yourself, to add value to yourself, to show that you are not contributing to the disorderliness and irritation of society, but you are contributing to the equilibrium, to the betterment of society. Partner with a foreign national. Partner with a foreign national. Travel for international business. Apply to at least 15 to 20 international jobs or fellowships every quarter. I didn't say every year. This is how to be aggressive about your journey towards being global. And then if you can afford it, I want to give you some other ones. I don't know who is watching me today. If you can afford it, invest in a foreign startup or company. Get a foreign e-residency. Get a foreign e-residency. Estonia is offering e-residency. There are several countries of the world that are offering e-residency for your business. You'll be able to get a foreign address to transact. That's how to be global. You'll never be able to understand how much this adds to your total reputation capital. Take a course in an Ivy League school. There are Ivy League schools for a reason. Build correct cash flow. Have 3 to 4 visas at every point in time. Don't say, I don't need it. Apply for a Dubai visiting visa. Apply for United Kingdom. If you have the money, I'm not talking to everybody right now. So don't go into the chat and say, oh, where would I afford this? I'm just telling, because anytime I'm speaking, I don't know who I'm talking to. So I have to tell those of you who may have the capacity. Don't be working in a bank in Nigeria for 8-9 years and you have never traveled for a vacation. There's a way your worldview changes. All of those things you're saying about you can never leave Nigeria. When you go to a place where things work, your mindset is going to change forever. Have 3 to 4 visas at every point in time. Invest in a foreign passport. Whether it will be directly by investing through what they call citizenship by investment. It's inside my book, The Relocation Playbook. Either you go through the investing through a foreign passport, or you go on through just typical, pathways like education. And then from there, you travel that 9 to 10 years journey of acquiring a foreign passport. You will be doing yourself and your children a huge favor. Let's go over it again. Define your purpose. It's crucial. Get a bio of yourself written so you can understand that you haven't done much. You can challenge yourself. Put it side by side with the people you respect. It can push you a lot. Get a personal website. If you can't afford a personal website, get someone to write a Wikipedia page, a LinkedIn, a Medium, About Me. There are people offering services to optimize all of these pages. Volunteer in at least 10 international organizations annually. Write a book. Put out a memoir about yourself. Do something. Then travel for international businesses. Apply to at least 15 to 20 international jobs every year and fellowships as well, every quarter. By the end of the year, you will see that you have moved significantly forward. This is half year, my guys. You have 6 months more, my friends. You can still make things happen. If you can't afford it, then invest in a foreign passport. You want to learn more? Write me an email about this. Get a foreign e-residency. Take a course in an Ivy League school. Go to Harvard. Go to Yale. Pay for it. Don't just use your money to buy clothes and houses and everything. Invest in yourself. Build capacity. Build correct cash flow. So if you're right now complaining for, I don't think I'm qualified for any of these things Shola is saying, I can't even afford it. Build cash flow. Learn about ways to get multiple streams of income. Have 3 to 4 visa at every point in time. Invest in a foreign passport. Build value in yourself before you even need it. Don't wait till when you are really desperate about moving abroad before you start building value in yourself. So start building value in yourself before you need it. All right. Now, what if I am above the age of 40? Are there opportunities for me? I dare tell you today, I wish we had more time for me to do exegesis, but there are opportunities for you if you're above the age of 40. The truth is you need to have gotten these things done early enough in life but there are opportunities, a lot of them, that you can be guided through. What if I don't know how to write applications? Then learn about it. Watch 5 to 6 YouTube videos about how to write better applications so I can get into fellowship programs. If it's really bad, you want to contract it out to somebody who can help you, all right? Then how do I build a great profile? You can build a great profile by simply volunteering and doing the things I have itemized in the previous slide. How can I build a financial base for non-funded opportunities? How can I get myself into them? Save. Look for multiple streams of income. Deprive yourself of things. I went to conferences in my life that nobody paid, and I had to look for everywhere possible, borrow, just to go. And today I am better for it. What should be my next step after this webinar? In case you are here asking questions, what should be my next steps? I want you to get your questions ready. We're still going to have about 10 to 20 minutes to take some of these critical questions. I want to thank all of you who have waited till this time. It's worth it. Even if you're burning on your data, it is worth it because your life will never remain the same for it. All right? Download Vesti, fill our survey if you haven't, then join the general Telegram group. It's right inside Vesti. When you are inside Vesti, you click on the Telegram icon. It will take you to our Telegram group. Then inside our Telegram group, you can join the exclusive. The exclusive upgrade will be available on our Vesti app within the next week or so, within the next couple of weeks. So look out for that. But as of today, I will show you how to do that. All right. Those are the next steps you want to take from today. If you want to be amongst a community of people where you are continually charged, motivated towards this pathway, people write me every now and then. I just got this admission. I want to thank you for the push. I just arrived in United Kingdom with my family. I just want to thank you for the push. You want to be that person who understand how this works. And there will be hundreds of providers who will do this over the next couple of months, just sharing different opportunities that are available. Once again, my thanks goes to Louis for just coming online and sharing those very powerful insights. So what to do next? Download Vesti. Go to www.wevesti.com. Please make a commitment tonight. I'm literally asking this of you, that you will share this on your BBM, or sorry, I don't know if I use BBM anymore, on your WhatsApp stories, on your Instagram stories, on your Facebook, share it there. Share this wevesti.com. We're helping people find opportunities to move abroad. All of the things you learned about today, totally free, completely free. All right. And we have tons of information like that inside the app and tons of services that you can pay for, with international organizations that you're not currently able to pay for if you just add a simple Naira card. Then join the Telegram. The link is in the app. Click on the Telegram icon, join the Telegram group. Then let's know how we can help you by filling this survey. I'm going to put a link of this survey. Make sure when you fill this survey, listen carefully, guys. Make sure when you fill this survey, ensure that you submit. Don't just click on next. The page is a little tricky, all right? This survey is going to be available inside the Vesti app very soon. You're going to have it available inside the Vesti app very soon. But the survey is here for now. It's in the link right here. Pick it up and then go on to fill it so we can know how we can help you and support you better, all right? Then join, this is the link right here. I've put it in the chat so you can see. Then join the exclusive program. Listen, if you're truly serious about these opportunities, then join the exclusive program. Join the exclusive program. Don't joke with this opportunity. Don't joke with this opportunity to actually join the exclusive program. Be part of the exclusive program because it will definitely help you to get serious, to move faster. And all you need to do that is to go into your Vesti account and then make a deposit there and then send us an email with the upgrade me to exclusive. Send us an email with support and say upgrade me to exclusive. And somebody on our team is going to support you with that if you wanted to see that. These are some of the benefits if you're in the exclusive program. You're going to get access to my book, the Relocation Playbook is free. For you, you're going to get access to all the replays of the webinars. You're going to get access to an exclusive onboarding session with myself or with my co-founder, where we're going to answer questions about your journey. All right. You can come on the call with your family, and that's going to help you. And throughout the year, you would have access to be able to ask us questions, not just on the general group, but also on an exclusive platform if you eventually choose to do that. So how do you get on the exclusive group? Simply pay a sum of a whole year for 40,000 Naira. Think about it. It's like 5,000 a month. If you pay 5,000 a month, that's going to be 60,000. You're paying only 40,000. This is not compulsory. It's totally your choice. You can take all the information here today and do nothing and pay nothing. I'm just saying, if you wanted to be in a more structured program, you wanted to be able to contact us and get more support beyond what you can see in the app, which already is amazing, phenomenal, just there for everybody. Okay? You can do that if you feel that you can direct your journey. But if you need that support, then you need to upgrade to the exclusive. And all you need to do is in your Vesti wallet, just deposit a sum of 40,000 naira and then send us an email that says upgrade me to exclusive. And that's how you join the exclusive group. But today, I am certain you've learned something, whether you choose to join the exclusive or not. You have learned a lot. I'm going to go back to the screen about the first things first again, in case you are still, you're not certain what you need to do from here. These are the things you need to do. All right. You can take a screenshot of that, for a moment. I'm going to leave it for a few seconds. You can take a screenshot of that. Okay. And right now I'm going to take it away and go to what you need to do next. Download Vesti, share the link with other people, at us, share the snippet of this session with me on Instagram as well, and tag me and I will follow you and share it as well. And then if you want, please make sure you join the exclusive program because it's totally life-changing and you can take your time anytime to join the exclusive program. It's been a phenomenal time working with you guys today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and I'm going to go into the questions in case there's some questions that I can quickly answer as I catch my breath. I think it's been a wonderful time tonight. If you have some questions, please go ahead and put it right there. I am so happy that you guys are getting value. I'm seeing a lot of questions here. I'm getting top-notch value. I'm seeing a lot of, content here. People are learning a lot here. So if you've learned something today, please say something and ask some questions if there are any questions whatsoever. As I said, the replay of this session is going to be available for all those in the exclusive program, not just this one, but all our previous compilations, because we want to make sure that only people who care about adding value to themselves actually get access to these things. If you join the Telegram group, you would be obviously able to learn a lot more. You can ask more questions. That's a lot there already. I'm posting a few snippets on my personal Instagram and on Vesti official over the next couple of days, so you can see them there. But if you wanted an overall, amongst other things, other benefits, you definitely need to upgrade to exclusive. The email is support. The email is help@wevesti.com. If you had any questions whatsoever, help@wevesti.com. Yeah. So the Chevening scholarship mainly right now, if you check the link I shared earlier, which is chevening.org, you should be able to see what is eligible for. But for the most people I know, they've used the Chevening scholarship for their master's program. What I'm not certain of is whether you can use to cover PhD. So go check that link and see what that covers the PhD program. But I'm sure there's several other PhD scholarships out there that you can take advantage of. Are there any questions? If there are any questions, please feel free to ask them in the Telegram group. What that affords me is an opportunity to breathe and then take time to answer them much later. So continue to be a part of our community. Thank you so much. The link to the survey there's no link on my Vesti app for the survey. I know that. I didn't say it's there. I said it's going to be there in a couple of weeks. I already pinned the link to the survey to this chat. So Chidima, please check this chat. You'll see there. Some of the engineers at Vesti are actually looking at this question right now about the link. Don't worry, the survey link is going to come into Vesti over the next couple of weeks, okay, or maybe even days. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, John. Thanks for joining. He said his laptop is so jacked, so he has to go. I appreciate all of you for joining. I think it's been amazing. There are lots of fashion-related schools out there. There are lots of programs out there. Please ask on the Telegram group, and you will get people who can give you access. If you run a quick Google search, you definitely will be able to find opportunities that are there. There's been about 586 playbacks tonight of people watching, and thank you so much to everybody who has been able to join. I think that's exciting. I'm really happy. I think it was better than last week's one, and we're going to have one more next week with one of my very, very highly respected senior friends who is going to come online. We're naming that one Jackpot with Sense. So if you know anybody who should be there, please tell them about it. I will soon start posting about it over this weekend and in the coming week. It's called Jackpot with Sense. And you need to share with other people. It's going to be amazing. We want to show you how to be able to build a solid financial base before you move abroad, and also how to make sure that you do not delete your contacts by the time you move abroad, so that you can continue to get the best of both worlds. That's what that next week session is going to be about. Can I stay back in the UK to work after a BSc program? Of course you can. There are new opportunities for post-work now. Is GRE needed for masters in Canada or the UK? Yes, there are GREs needed for masters in the United States. There are certain exams that are needed for masters in the UK. What matters here is that there are schools that don't need GRE, okay? So if you feel that you can write GRE to increase your chance of getting a scholarship, definitely I think you should do that, all right? Thank you so much for the session. It's been an amazing session. Thank you so much, Adeni, Montage. So GRE, there are several schools in Canada and the UK that do not require GRE at all, right? I think that's the answer to your question. Thank you so much, Sai. It's been an amazing evening full of insight. I'm really happy you were able to join. I'm really happy that this was useful for you. Please go on and tell other people about Vesti. This stream, unfortunately, is not going to be available to the general public just to watch. Maybe in the future it will, but as of today, it will be available to people within our community. So please make sure that you do that. In case I form my Vesti account in USD, then decide to change my mind, can I withdraw my funds anytime? Is that done into my DOM account? We don't do that. That is a strategy for you to basically, be using our platform to change money, and we're not a money exchange platform. So don't mistakenly fund your account, your wallet with USD. If you plan to withdraw it to your DOM account, our platform will not support that. If you plan to spend it on Vesti to pay for a service, our platform will support you to be able to do that. But if you plan to mistakenly withdraw it back, you will not be able to do that. I'm really sorry about that, because there are serious, very strong policies around money changing, and we're not a money service organization in Nigeria, okay? This is very, very important. Can I get a sample domain name in case I want to create a website for my personal brand? Well, you need to talk to a consultant to do that. But I would say just make it josephokonko.com, right? Or speak to joseph.com, right? Is it possible to take my family for scholarship offer? It actually requires other conditions with your visa. Once you get the scholarship, if you're able to demonstrate that you have the finances to be able to take care of your family beyond your scholarship, because your scholarship only covers you, then you should be able to get a visa. Taking your family along, as I always tell people, is nothing, there's no law about taking your family along or not taking your family along to any country. As a matter of fact, the best countries in the world they value families a lot. And so what matters is that you're able to have the financial base to take care of your family, and you must demonstrate that with your statement of account. Can you please make the referral code on Vesti app a link so that people can sign up without having to send them to the referral link? Thank you so much. That is true. We're working on that deep linking. I'm going to do a special session, that is a Vesti live session, just to hear this kind of feedback. So Tochi Okoye, the engineers are watching right now, and definitely we're going to make sure that we make a deep linking service available. I think it will be available in August for people to be able to refer others. How safe is it to apply for international jobs? Will you be allowed to change the job out later on? Well, it's more complex than that. Okay, if you want to learn more, please go into the app and read more about the H-1B visa. Okay, thank you, sir. Please, I need the Telegram link. The Telegram link is inside the app. You need to have the app. Can I stay back in the UK after my undergraduate? Yes, there's a pathway to stay back. Thanks, Shola. I'll get back to you. Mr. Femi Abe, good to see you. Well understood. Thank you for your response. Is WordPress okay to use for a website for such application? Yes, it is okay. Please, can someone a dependent visa to a master's student register a business in the UK? Yes. In fact, foreigners can register business in the UK, let alone you that you are right there. So if you are in the UK and your dependent is with you, or you are the one on a dependent visa, you can register. Even foreigners can do that, let alone people who have a physical address. How can one start for UK master study? I shared a set of schools. Just go to the website of those schools and basically go and learn. I ask you to take a screenshot of it. If you want to learn more about it, come into the Vesti community and on Telegram and ask the same question, and perhaps somebody will be there to share with you. All right, it's high time. I need to go now. I want to give you back some 5 minutes. Thanks to all of you guys who have joined us from Ghana, from Kenya, from Nigeria, from all over the parts of over Africa, and even some who joined from other parts of America. Maybe they joined because of their siblings. Thank you so much for joining. I look forward to learning more from you and to being part of this world that has so much presented itself to us as an oyster, and they would definitely need to take advantage of. Well, nobody will share the Telegram link here. It's inside the Vesti app. It is for people who are in the Vesti community. So go into the app, Chidinma, and log in, and you will see the Vesti, you will see the Telegram icon. You click it, and then you can join. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time being part of this session, and thank you for joining. We have close to nearly 600 people, playbacks watching, and I want to thank all of you for joining. It will be time to close it now, and you all have a wonderful time. You want to send me a personal email, my email is olu@wevesti.com, olu at wevesti.com. So easy. If you had other questions or you wanted to understand some other ways to be able to support Vesti. All right. You guys have a wonderful time, and please take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.